Let's stick with football and introduce a new segment here on Honda Sports Night, Fantasy Focus. And JJ, let's begin with the quarterbacks. Where do you rank Aaron Rodgers and Daniel Jones fantasy-wise?
So first up, I am so fired up that we are doing this because I'm getting ready for all my fantasy drafts, Eamon, coming up over the next couple weeks. Now, before the Jet fan jumps down my throat, here's the take, here's the bottom line. From a fantasy perspective, Daniel Jones is going to have more fantasy points than Aaron Rodgers. Why? Because of the rushing ability. You saw Daniel Jones last year run the football extremely well and make plays with his legs. And if you want a fantasy quarterback, who's going to make plays with his legs. Doesn't mean Aaron Rodgers isn't all of a sudden not going to have a fantastic year with the Jets. But if I had a choice between one of the two to lead my fantasy team, I'm going with the Giant quarterback.
You want those 1-yard sneak touchdowns for Daniel Jones.
Absolutely.
All right, it's your first pick in all of your drafts. You have 7 drafts, so one's your first pick. You have a choice of Saquon Barkley or Garrett Wilson. Who are you taking?
Once again, this is where the fantasy and the real-life aspect differs a little bit because you would never take a running back over a wide receiver if you're building a real football team. But in fantasy land, because of the fact that Saquon Barkley can run the football, can catch it, can do everything for the New York Giants, and you throw in the fact that Saquon Barkley has something to prove because he is playing for a contract, I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a monster season. Now, again, I like both of these guys. You tell me either one is on my fantasy team, Eamon, I'm going to be A-okay with it. But if I had a choice between the two, and I got to take one, going Saquon over Garrett Wilson by a smidge.
I know a GM who used to work in New York could take a running back over a wide receiver in real football, but we won't talk about that anymore. All right, we wrap with sleepers. Give us your fantasy sleepers for both the Giants and the Jets.
All right, I'm going to start with the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to fall in love with one of these tight ends. Tyler Conklin, who really did come on and make some plays for the Jets at the end of last year. You see that touchdown total is at 3. He is going way over that total. I think he doubles it. I think he'll be a fun little threat to have with Aaron Rodgers, going back to those Viking-Packer days. Now they reunite, but their teammates a little weird. And then I'm going to give you Jalen Hyatt. He's got big playability. I love guys with big playability. We know Darren Waller is going to be the #1 threat for the New York Giants as far as receiver is concerned. But I do think there are big plays and big play touchdowns, and the rookie emerges a ton in the second half of the year.
He has opened plenty of eyes so far in training camp, but do you think we saw it with Garrett Wilson, do you think he can make a big impact on this offense in his first season?
So I don't think he's going to make a Garrett Wilson-like impact because he's not going to be, Eamon, the #1 guy, I think, in this offense. I think if Darren Waller is on the field, he is going to be Daniel Jones' favorite weapon. But I think as he gets more and more comfortable and he deals with the idea of what press coverage is going to throw at him in the NFL, I do think that speed plays. I think Daniel Jones' deep ball is underrated, and I think Hyatt is going to end up scoring at least 4 or 5 30 to 40-yard touchdowns for the Giants.
JJ, thanks for joining us for Fantasy Focus. Let us know how all your drafts turn out.
Yeah, stay tuned.